Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. In fact, we're talking about a lot of bright light, because if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Sweet Talk. And the reason why is that now we are having a fabulous solar eclipse at 20 degrees of Gemini. And that means that the sun and the moon are both at 20 degrees of Gemini, putting a lot of light in that sign. And as a bonus, Mercury, the ruler of the sign, is at 21 degrees and it's retrograde. So it's going to go right back and be at 20 degrees tomorrow, right along with that sun and a new moon solar eclipse. These three planets in Gemini are also trining a fourth planet in an air sign, and that is Saturn, which is retrograde in Aquarius. And Aquarius rules your freedom, but it also rules your future. Those four planets are also trining the third air sign, which is Libra. And because there's so much light and the aspects are so good among the air signs, it simply means, since Libra rules peace and it rules partnership and compromise and negotiations and also rules the law, there can be a nice way, perhaps using a little more sweet talk, for you to conclude some legal matter or be open to the kind of revisions that could shorten a process, a legal process, and thereby sort of get it concluded, which would be nice. Because this is an absolutely excellent time to communicate with other people. Gemini is the traditional ruler of the third house of everyday life, of your childhood education, of your pals and your buddies and people you know just casually. And that is because Gemini rules all short forms of communication and of education. So it rules two-year colleges that can give you a degree, or it rules vocational schools where you can learn a skill and perhaps get a high-paying job. And it rules certificate and training programs as well. Gemini rules journalism, it rules advertising, it sure rules buying and selling and deal making, and it rules marketing. So Geminis are good middlemen. That's what it's all about, bringing other sides together. They're absolutely excellent at that. And the reason why is that Gemini is a very flexible, mutable, adaptable sign. And so if one thing doesn't work, they could quickly move to plan B and still get something accomplished, which is great. So Gemini rules your neighborhood. It rules your close surroundings. It rules casual get-togethers, and so that can be very nice. It also rules a type of language that nobody ever bothers to write down because it changes so much, and Gemini is the sign of change, and that kind of change is not abrupt at all. It's easy transitional change, like moving from one place to another, but perhaps in a nearby neighborhood. It also rules brothers and sisters and siblings. But Gemini is a sign that is so adaptable that it likes to be on the move. It's the sign of the twins. And so a Gemini likes to do part-time or temporary things, or maybe two things at once, because it's a very curious sign. Geminis know a little bit about a lot of things because they're very curious about a lot of things, and they can sort of sniff the news. They can take a lead and really run with it and get some information from it that can be quite helpful in the deals that they make. So this is a wonderful time for you to employ sweet talk into any kind of legal negotiation, a partnership offer, just working on a project with other people. As long as you sort of come across as being open to other people's suggestions, or that you would welcome a revision in something, then that can help speed up a process a little bit, or maybe shortcut some extra plans or extra meetings and get something concluded a little bit earlier. So you might give that a try, because there are also 4 planets in the water signs. And that's good because Venus and Mars are in Cancer, but Mars is at the 29th degree of Cancer today. It is about to go into Leo. And those 2 planets are trining Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. And these 4 planets in the water signs are also trining the sign of Scorpio. So if in your quest to be a little bit more amenable in your relationships with people, a little bit more open to suggestion, you might be able to express more empathy or sympathy about how other people feel. And that may actually eventually heal the rift in a family affair. That would be good. Or it would help sort of speed up the conclusion of something. In other words, maybe you're wanting to move on, or maybe somebody else is, and just being more sympathetic to their feelings could help you, could help your plans as well. And that is because those planets also trine the sign of Scorpio, which rules justice. And that means that more information can be coming out behind the scenes so that we can have some sort of a mistake acknowledged and a correction made for the betterment of everyone. And the reason why I'm explaining how important sweet talk can be to you is because there are planets that are very harshly aspecting each other. And because they're doing that, it simply can set up resistance, particularly after Mars goes into Leo tomorrow. But even without Mars making a move today, Uranus in Taurus is squaring that Saturn in Aquarius. And yes, that Saturn is backed up by the solar eclipse today, but it's still under great pressure. And that simply means that big money can want to have their own way right now. And that could create all kinds of tension and problems, either health problems or financial problems, or just rigid tension and stress that you don't need. So that's a very good reason for you to employ sweet talk for the next 6 months. In other words, when times get a little tense this summer, if you sort of try to find something nice to say, that's what sweet talk is. Or if you're with somebody that you absolutely cannot stand, then do what people have said for a long time. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Okay, so that ended your sweet talk. But you could still smile. You could still present yourself as being amenable, even if you have to get along with somebody, particularly at work. Not every coworker is your favorite. And if you have to get along with them and you have nothing good to say to them, at least smile at them. Because a smile is a form of sweet talk. And believe me, with the harshness of some of these aspects with malefic planets and fixed signs for the next 6 weeks, you've got to get through that and still be a nice person. And employing sweet talk under this wonderful solar eclipse is the way to do it, so I hope you try it. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. This is a time, since there are no planets in the fire signs, that you may not be a ball of fire right now, Aries. You might feel like sort of just relaxing and enjoying some summer fun, or just sort of taking the load off right now. And I think that's a good idea, Aries, because you don't have to be pressing forward at the moment. You could be instead planning some things. maybe you should just pay attention to your summer plans, even if they haven't begun yet. You could sort of double check them and make sure that, you've got everything in the right spot, and also that you have enough money to pay for everything that you want to do this summer. Because when Mars does go into Leo, it will trine your sun, and Mars is your own ruler. So even if you don't have any plans, or you don't have anything specific in mind this summer, you could run into some other people that may want you to join them hastily and help them out. And so you need to sort of think a little bit about that, Aries, about whether that's how you want to spend your summer vacation. You may not want to do that. But this is why this is a time to sort of be planning some things, but not necessarily jumping into them. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus, your sign is continually under fire until 2025. And maybe since it's been that way this year, you may be sort of taking the pressure for granted, but that pressure is going to get a lot more tense. And that is because Uranus in your sign, which is the planet of volatility and sudden surprising change, and it's not a stable planet at all, has been squaring Saturn in Aquarius since Saturn went into Aquarius. So that's this year. Okay, but Saturn is staying in Aquarius until not till 2025. It's staying there for the next 2.5 years. That's the period of time that these two malefic planets, Uranus in your sign and Saturn in Aquarius, are going to be in continual harsh square to each other. Well, you might have gotten used to that by now, and that would not have made you happy, Taurus, but your sign rules endurance. You really can take a lot of pressure. However, the question in the next 6 weeks is going to be, how much even can you take, Taurus? And I hope you never find that out. You never reach your limit. But you might in the next 6 months or 6 weeks, because Mars is going into Leo, and it too is squaring Uranus in your sign, and it's going to be opposing Saturn in Aquarius. Well, Mars is a dynamic, impulsive, fast-acting planet, and so is Uranus. Uranus is very quick. It rules sudden surprise. These will be in very harsh aspect to each other in fixed signs, which means there's going to be a royal battle about money. And, if there is any way you can step away from that, Taurus, and not fight about it, particularly not in June and July, that would be good. Because, it isn't good for your health either to be under so much stress, Taurus. So try a little sweet talk. Because even if you're pretty convinced that what you want is going to be the way it's planned in the end, still, if you lighten up a little bit, the other side might lighten up too. If you indicate that you're open to some revision, they may go along with that. In other words, you can sort of de-escalate the pressure. I don't think you're going to be able to get rid of it, but you could tone it down a little bit. And this would be very good for your health, Taurus. Don't go into a battle thinking you have nothing to lose, because that is not true. There are real serious health problems that could occur under these aspects. And they really would happen quickly to you because Uranus is in your sign. But Uranus and Mars squaring each other is a sign of extreme anger or war. And that's what you have to put up with for the rest of June and all of July. So take care and try to use sweet talk. It won't hurt you to try. And maybe if you try, somebody else will try too, and that could be wonderful. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini, congratulations! This is a fantastic solar eclipse for you. There was a lunar eclipse in your sign right around last Thanksgiving at the end of November. But now, when there could have been a change in your life, but now there is a solar eclipse in your sign. And remember, Gemini, I've described your sign as being very versatile and adaptable. and able to adjust and revise plans and still move forward and able to concentrate on more than one thing at the same time. So, you know, Gemini, this is one of the best solar eclipses you're ever going to have. And the reason why is your own ruler is involved in it. I mean, you couldn't ask for many better planets than are in your sign right now. The sun and the moon, that's the lights, and your ruler. So they can do no wrong. And in a way, Gemini, think about this. It sort of means that you can do no wrong. So try not to go overboard on anything. Remember, there are going to be some people that are what you might call hard hitters or heavy hitters throughout June and July. And they're not your type, Gemini. So even if you feel like getting mad at somebody, step back. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. They won't miss your criticism, Gemini. They don't need it. They wouldn't listen to it anyway. So save your breath, and you can at least smile at some people. And if you're in any kind of a contractual arrangement of some sort, your willingness to accept some sort of revision could be something that would help another person accept a revision also, and that could shorten up the time it takes for you to conclude a matter. Well, Geminis are generally sort of in a hurry. They like to move fast. And so think about that as the sweet talk can be used to your advantage, Gemini. And so you really have to just concentrate on, you know, make every word count. You don't have to say 100 words. You have to probably say 10 that really hit the mark. And that's all. And so give that a try, Gemini, because as I said, this is one of the best solar eclipses that is ever going to happen to you. And it really means a new beginning is coming for you. It doesn't mean, under these very harsh aspects in June and July, that it's going to be a breeze, because it won't be. Actually, something could be much easier for you than it is for other people. But there will be people around that are these heavy hitters, and you really need to stay away from them. You better not get in their way, because they would want to mow you down. This could delay your plans, Gemini, if you get mowed down. So be more adroit. Step back. Invent a good excuse why you can't be around them, and then you on your way. So good luck. And I think it's going to be a most fortunate new beginning for you. It's going to help you be seen at your best. Congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer. Well, the wonderful good news is that Venus is in your sign, and Venus loves to be in Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon, which is passive and empathetic and understanding and you know, very sensitive. Okay, so you're coming into a pretty happy time, Cancer. You may have still a little roughness around the edges to contend with, because Mars is still in your sign and it is at the 29th degree of fate. Something in your life, Cancer, is coming to an end, and it's a real end, okay? And so think of it as if a door closes, it leaves you more freedom to do what you want, Cancer. And you don't even have to have anything planned. Something wonderful is still going to come to you. And the reason why is that once Mars gets out of your sign, you'll just have Venus there, and it is being trine by Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. You are going to be one lucky person behind the scenes, Cancer. There are people that like you very much, and they could do something pretty nice for you that they wouldn't do for somebody else. And they're about to do it, Cancer. It should happen soon, sometime over this summer. So we have some bumps to get through this summer with these three malefic planets squaring and opposing each other clear to the end of July. But I think the worst is over for you, Cancer. And, you know, don't feel sorry for yourself at all right now. Life is about to lighten up for you when Mars leaves your sign. And so you have something wonderful coming from behind the scenes. That's Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. So I would say, since the new moon solar eclipse in Gemini is right behind your sun sign, that something in the background of your life is sort of starting to gel, starting to sort of get off the ground. And I would say you need to look at that real closely, because it could be a real winner and also make you very happy. So look at that a little more. And then remember, sweet talk is the way to get through this summer, no matter what. And if you can't say something nice, at least smile. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, you are about to get really busy. And the funny thing is, and that'll be when Mars comes right into your sign, which it is going to do really quickly. And that is because as Mars enters your sign, it will begin an opposition to Saturn in Aquarius. And those two planets are complete opposites. Mars is dynamic, energetic, impulsive, wants to get the job done, wants to go forward. And Saturn is sitting there saying, you've got to do it right, or you've got to do it over, and you've got to go slow and make sure not to skip any steps. And Mars doesn't care about that. Mars just wants to go. So there's going to be some health problems. If there's extra pressure or tension on anybody, it could result in heart problems, back problems, or some problems that are generated in the blood, because that's what Leo rules. On top of that, watch out for angry people. And that is because, Leo, you are a person, your sign rules courage, and it rules leadership. You are not afraid of very many things at all. But this is a summer when you need to be careful. Because for one thing, you may not see the enemy coming, okay? And if you don't see them coming, you could easily become their victim because you wouldn't have your defenses up. And so you need to be very careful. Sort of put your radar out, Leo. And if you're using your radar and you're going somewhere and you're not too sure about the people around you, leave. Because with these malefic planets, with Saturn opposing your sun and Uranus squaring it, something very dangerous could happen to you in the blink of an eye. That's that Uranus. That's how fast it happens. And it could be something that involves money. Would it be a robbery? It could be. Would it be something a little more sophisticated, like an embezzlement or a bank going belly up? Who knows? But that's what you have to be careful about, is just, this has got to be a summer when you slow down, Leo. Because going faster than anybody else is not going to be to your credit this summer. You got to slow way down. And if you do slow way down, it is possible that somebody that wants to make you a target, if you're moving so slowly, they may change their mind and find somebody else. And that could save your life, Leo. So just be real cautious, okay? Because you are somewhat a fearless leader. This is not the time to throw caution to the winds. It's the exact opposite. You need to be much more careful. And if you have doubts about people, they're probably exactly right. So you should listen to what your heart tells you. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when, in a way, you can sort of feel as if life is passing you by. Now, why would that be? Well, it's because we've had two eclipses this spring. The last eclipse we had was in Sagittarius. It was a total lunar eclipse, and it squared your sun. Okay, and now the solar eclipse in Gemini, which is magnificently aspected, is also square your sun. And Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces are opposing your sun sign. Now, you do have backup from staunch, regular friends that you could even take for granted because they're always there for you. Well, they haven't left. They're still there. Uranus in Taurus is trining your sun, and Pluto in Capricorn is also trining your sun. But Pluto is retrograde, indicating there can be changes at the top in management and in budgets, which could be slashed for one reason or another. I mean, you know, you can't have a worldwide pandemic and go right back to normal in the blink of an eye. It just isn't possible. Lots of people died. A lot of others their lifestyles were completely disrupted. And so, you know, it's not going to be this fast, everybody wins type of thing. And so, Virgo, just stay steady, which is what you do very well. In other words, a Virgo can always be counted to be there in the end. Your sign rules finishing. A Virgo rules occupations of service like teaching and nursing and being a social worker or a policeman or a fireman. Just keep being yourself, Virgo, and you won't lose any of your good old friends. They'll be there too. Even if they're having troubles, they'll still be there for you. But as far as you doing anything extra this summer, I advise you to think twice, because that Mars in Leo is going to be right behind your sun sign, and that means an enemy can be creeping up or an illness. And you need to just concentrate on your own simple lifestyle this summer, Virgo, and on your health. And you could probably improve your health a little bit, and your sign rules health. So see, you could be doing yourself a lot of good, particularly if you employ sweet talk and you don't let things get to you too much, particularly not something like quarrels or fights that other people are having behind the scenes. You need to mind your own business and stay out of those things if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when I think that you are going to be sort of lit from within, Libra. Lucky you. Because remember, I said there are 4 planets in the air signs, and they're all trining your sun sign, Libra. Oh boy, the potential for a successful partnership is quite high. And if you are in some sort of contractual, not argument, but something where you have to settle a contract in one way or another, it could work out in a fair way, particularly if you're willing to go through some revisions, because I think the other person or entity that you're dealing with would be willing to listen to some revisions and go along with you on them. So that is quite possible, because the Sun, New Moon, and Mercury in Gemini are all trining your Sun, and Saturn in Aquarius, which is retrograde, is also trining your Sun. The one thing that you might spend a little extra time thinking about, Libra, is that since Saturn is retrograde, there is the possibility that you might be worrying a little bit about whether your future is actually rock solid. And everybody should be worrying about that. That is a question that won't even be resolved in June and July, because these malefic planets are really challenging that Saturn. And so I would say, since Saturn is a planet of trust, but it's the kind of trust you got to earn the hard way, I would say that you need to just try not to fall for blue sky right now, Libra. Get everything written down and just allow for the fact that your future may not be as stable as you have been used to in the past. But that might not be such a bad deal. Remember, Saturn is trining your Sun for the next 2.5 years. This is actually a very good time for you to take on a serious project that fills up the next 2.5 years at least, because you would come out a winner by the end of it. That's why if you're thinking of something that you never quite got done in your life, Why don't you go for it now? The stars are with you, Libra. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Scorpio. This is a time that, remember I said, sweet talk is the way to get past very tense situations in June and July when the 3 malefic planets all line up among fixed signs. Believe me, I mean it, Scorpio, and the reason why is yours is a fixed sign. You, throughout June and all of July, you will have Mars in Leo squaring your sun. You will have Saturn in Aquarius, which is now squaring your sun, and you still have Uranus in Taurus, which is opposing your sun sign. You could sort of get hammered in the next 6 weeks or so, 6 or 7 weeks, clear till the end of July. And that's why it is imperative, particularly under the solar eclipse that is so beautifully put together now in Gemini, it's imperative that you use sweet talk to get you through a very challenging time. And so sweet talk just means that you might be a little more empathetic toward how the other person feels. Or you may decide, even if you really don't like what they're saying, you're going to keep a smile on your face anyway. You should do that, Scorpio. A smile can be disarming. You know, if somebody wants to yell their head off at you, it's pretty hard to do if you're smiling at them. Give it a try, Scorpio. Anything to lessen the pressure that is going to be on you until the end of July. It's like you can't run out the back door and hope everything is going to get better. You do have to communicate with other people, but do it in a way that shows you're open to revision. That could end an argument a lot quicker, or that you want to go ahead and see that justice is done. That is what your sign rules. And there's 4 planets in the water signs, all trining your sun sign. So, I mean, you have a lot of backup. It's just you are going to be facing a lot of challenges too. And my advice is try to stay as calm as possible and don't ask too much of yourself every day. If you have a whole bunch of things to do and you don't quite get to all of them, don't blame yourself, Scorpio. Much better for you to sit back and be good to yourself first, because that way you can build some defenses of love and nurturing around you. And that's hard for people to attack. And right now you have to try not to be attacked. But it looks to me like they're going to try, and you have to resist, but not fight back. If somebody suckers you into an argument, it's not looking like you're going to win, Scorpio. So don't go there. All right, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time now that we're having the second eclipse in spring when you have to sort of rethink something, Sagittarius. Could there be a little shorter way for you to accomplish a goal? You know, there might be. And that is because the total lunar eclipse in your sign at 5 degrees did indicate a change, and particularly that one woman would be going and another woman would be coming at a later time. Okay, so that means there's going to be a change in a relationship for sure. And it might be even if you're a woman that you're going somewhere and doing things. So that's fine. However, this eclipse now in Gemini is beautifully lit because under the eclipse in your sign, it was a full moon. So the moon was in your sign, but the sun, Venus, and Mercury were in Gemini opposing it. Well, now the sun and moon and Mercury are in Gemini, and they're opposing your sun sign. And there's nothing in your sun sign. And so, and Jupiter and Neptune are squaring your sun sign. There's 5 really strong planets, including the lights, the sun and the moon, Sagittarius, that are challenging you right now. The problem is there are no planets in the fire signs. You have no support at the moment. You're about to, though. Mars is coming into Leo. It's going to trine your sun. That'll get you going, Sagittarius. But I would say, since both Gemini and your sign denote thought and communication, and Gemini deals with short forms of education and communication, and your sign deals with longer terms of thinking and reaching higher conclusions, because it rules the courts and religion and philosophy as well. I think you have to sort of shorten up your time frame on something, Sagittarius, which you were not planning to do, but you might think that there can be an advantage now to you listening to a revision of plans. Revisions can work for everybody. So people should give that a try, because if you can raise plans with somebody and that can shorten a commitment, or it can maybe reduce costs in one way or another, that would be to your advantage. There's also the possibility, Sagittarius, that younger people may be deciding that they want to go their own way, or they want to do their own thing. And I would say that in your wisdom, you may sort of step back and say, okay, give that a try, and I'll be here if you need me. And that way you're giving them a little space to, do it their way. And that might be a good idea, Sagittarius. It makes you look really good. Whether they win or lose, it makes you look great. So try to think of some way to revise something in your life, because I have a feeling that if you employ sweet talk and you're open to revision, your popularity would certainly increase, and that would be nice. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn, this is the time when I think that there can be changes in management and in corporations or government agencies at a very high level. And it is being talked about now, Capricorn. And, Capricorns like security. They are very security prone. So generally, Capricorns like to work for big outfits that have been in business a long time, or a government agency where the budgets are set and you know you're going to get your retirement and so on. But there could be changes now since Pluto is retrograde in your sign. And so some of the changes could affect you in one way or another. There could be, for instance, the pandemic has brought quite a change in the workplace. The workplace isn't going to look the same anymore, because there's a lot of people that aren't going back to the office. They don't want to. It doesn't mean that they won't have jobs. They just want to do them at home, or they want to do them somewhere else. And that could be all right. And so if it isn't your life that's changing directly, Capricorn, it is somebody else's that is pretty close to you, and their life is changing. But it isn't due to something they've done. They are not at fault, or you're not at fault. It is that at a very high level, there can be management changes due to consolidations or to mergers, or because there isn't enough money. The bottom line, something's got to shrink, so they cut the budget. But I think that as long as you're practical about it, and as long as you've kept your skills up, you are still very marketable and can do what you want. I think you'll be okay. All right, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, your sign is certainly getting activated this year, isn't it? First of all, it opened the year with Saturn and Jupiter both in your sign, and now Jupiter has just temporarily moved into Pisces. And it is going to be coming back into your sign by the end of July and stay there until the end of December. So you've got another half year of good fortune coming your way, but it isn't coming at the moment. It isn't going to be coming in June or July, Aquarius. And the reason why is that as soon as these malefic planets set up in a harsh T-cross in fixed signs, you will be bombarded by other people who have agendas of their own, and boy, they are not willing to listen to you at all. And you have an agenda too, and you're not really willing to change your mind either. And so what will the outcome be? Well, luckily, Aquarius, today's solar eclipse in Gemini with 3 planets, the Sun, Moon, and Mercury in Gemini, all trining your sun where you have Saturn, is an indication that with a little bit of deep thinking, Saturn is a real deep planet, it rules time. And so if you sort of go back in your memory and you think of other times or other skills that you had or other things you can do or places you'd rather live than the one you're living in now, why don't you follow that up a little bit? Because you can communicate with people on a very simple level right now, and that would be much to your advantage. In other words, old school friends. Or if you want to still do your job, but either change and do it all at home or do it for some other employer, you could make that kind of a move. It wouldn't be exactly a step up the career ladder. It would be sort of an easy transitional move. And that's what the solar eclipse is all about. Taking short steps or using sweet talk or being open to revisions so that you get through a tense summer. And I think everybody, I'm not out to say that everybody has to be making peace in the world. I wish they would, but still, it's that you have to protect yourselves. And each person could do it by just softening their language a little bit and being more empathetic toward how other people feel. And also just by having revisions, you could shorten the time that there is tension. You could come to the end of it after a while. So think about all those things, Aquarius. Fixed signs do not like change. But Aquarius, if you're thinking that you can do it your way from here on out, you are kidding yourself. And between now and the end of July, you will find that out because of this Mars opposing your Sun and Uranus squaring it. So if you could meet somebody halfway, Aquarius, if you could bend a little bit, I think they would be able to bend too, and that could make you both a lot happier. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Pisces. There are 4 planets in the water signs right now. Lucky you, Pisces. And that's because your ruler Neptune is in your sign and Jupiter is in your sign until the end of July, and they are both trining Venus and Mars in Cancer today. But Mars is leaving, and so then they'll both be trining Venus in Cancer. And Jupiter and Venus trining each other are wonderful. I mean, it's love and good wishes to a lot of people, but particularly to family members or to people that you're very fond of behind the scenes. So this is a very good time for you, even though you have to understand that things aren't going to quite all go your way, Pisces. And the reason why, I think they are going to do pretty well at home and with family. But the reason why there does have to be a revision or some sort of change in your plans is because the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius squared your Sun, and the Sun, new moon, and Mercury in Gemini under the solar eclipse also square your Sun. 2 eclipses challenging your sign this spring. There is going to be change, Pisces. Okay, if you're willing to talk sweet talk, just being more agreeable or just smiling a little bit more often and just being friendly to people, that could do you a lot of good, Pisces. If you're thinking of starting some other occupation up a little bit, like turning a hobby into a business, that kind of thing is what you should go for, Pisces. And the reason why is that you can do it a little bit at a time. And if you run into things where you've got to change your schedule or you've got to revise some meetings, you could do that. So that would be sort of easy on you. So I hope that you are very serious about whatever you're doing, but allow room to communicate more easily with other people, allow time for revisions and compromise, sort of adjusting your schedules a little bit. And then also, this is a time when it would pay you to concentrate on real estate or family or home issues. particularly with Venus in Cancer. Oh, that would do you a lot of good. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.